And I was really clear on that. And that is going to finish in 18 months. And then everyone is going to move on. That was the deal. That is my job, not to be a coach. If people cannot handle the Gary Nevilles and the criticisms of everything, we need to change the club. No, guys, I just want to say that I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach. And every department, the scouting department, the sport director needs to do their job. I will do mine for 18 months and then we move on.
Manchester United fans, in this video I am going to explain everything that is really happening behind the scenes at this club, the truth we all need to hear. This is not one of those videos that throws random stories around or tries to create drama. No, this is the real truth, the reality that so many people don't talk about, but we need to understand. So I want you to stay with me, watch this video right to the very end, because I am going to break down everything step by step, and by the time we finish, you will clearly understand what is truly going on at Manchester United right now. Please kindly give a like to this video, support the channel, and make sure you subscribe for more honest and real Manchester United football talk. Now, let's get straight into it. Let's start from the place that actually explains everything better. When Ten Hag was sacked, the club made a decision that this time they wanted a manager they could build the next decade of Manchester United with. They had tried multiple coaches already like Ole, Mourinho, they had tried Ten Hag, and none of those projects ended well. But remember, all of those managers played with a back four, and every single one of them still faced criticism. Mourinho was accused of parking the bus. Ole was accused of not having a clear pattern of play. Ten Hag was called clueless, and even though he won 2 trophies, he still ended up getting sacked. So this time, the Manchester United board wanted something completely different. They looked at Amorim and loved what they saw at Sporting. They saw a coach with identity, with a system, and with a style of football that was different from anything we had tried in recent years. And just like many fans were saying at the time, they wanted somebody who could twist things tactically, someone who would not stick to the same old four-man defense that clearly wasn't working anymore. So United decided to appoint Ruben Amorim, with the main intention that he would bring that exact same system he used at Sporting and try to replicate it at Manchester United. Before bringing him in, they asked him if he truly understood that setup, if he knew how to build it properly, and if he believed he could make it work here. And Amorim said yes. Now, the club already knew that Manchester United did not have the players needed to play that system perfectly, but they still chose to bring Amorim knowing fully well what system he played. Which clearly meant there was already an agreement that he would be backed, that the squad would be rebuilt, and new players would be brought in to make that setup eventually work. And we even saw the proof of that when after our worst performances last season, they still didn't sack Amorim. They already understood that the problem wasn't the manager, they knew the squad wasn't built for that system and we didn't have the players to make it work yet. They were simply waiting for the summer window so they could finally try to sign the kind of players he needed. Meanwhile, Amorim himself had already made it clear that he was open to adapting and playing different setups in the future, but only after the players fully understood this one first. He wanted the team to know this system so well that they could play it even with their eyes closed, before moving on to other shapes.
You said it's not about formations, the system, that's not important. If it's not important, why are you so inflexible? And would you ever consider, if things got worse, of changing and adapting?
Guys, if I feel that it's best to change, I know I played in all my life in the 4-4-2, 4-3-3. The only system that I didn't play 1 minute, 3-4-3. So I know all the, and I just have one idea that we need to be so good in this way of playing, then we are going to adapt. It's like some coaches has a mentality that I'm going to put this system and then I'm going to change. What I'm thinking is that we have one system that is going to adapt to different systems. And then when everyone is doing this with his eyes shut, I'm going to change a lot of things.
Now Amorim's first season ended and we lacked goals, we lacked midfield control and even the defense was bad, nothing worked last season and we finished 15th. Now here is where things become very important. Amorim made it clear that for his system to really work, he needed 2 proper number 10s, and the board actually backed him on that part and gave him those players, Cunha and Bewn. But then after that the club decided they were only going to sign 2 more players, a goalkeeper and 1 additional outfield signing. At that point, Amorim requested a midfielder because he knew the midfield was one of the biggest problems in making this setup function properly. However, there was a vote between the sporting director Wilcox and others, and the decision was made that instead of signing a midfielder, the club would go for a striker. Amorim accepted it, even though that was not what he originally wanted. He was willing to keep Højlund and Xerxes until January and see how they could develop, especially with Cunha and bewn around them. But the board had other ideas. They wanted to send Højlund on loan to Napoli. So Amorim said fine, but if he was going to get a striker, then he wanted one who was already proven in the Premier League. His choice was Watkins. But the club refused and instead decided they wanted to compete with Newcastle for Sesko. In the end, they got Sesko, and they also brought in Lamens. And that is where so many things started to shift, because the plan slowly began moving away from what Amorim originally asked for. The season kicked off, and we have to remember something very important. Last season we finished 15th and scored just 40 goals across the entire campaign. That was our reality. Last summer, instead of strengthening every area, we mainly strengthened the attack and brought in a goalkeeper. And with that Amorim went to work. He improved the attack massively with what he was given. Today, we can boldly say our attack finally looks like something that works. We are creating more chances than before, we are taking more shots than most teams in the Premier League, and we have scored more goals than 17 other clubs in the league. Only Manchester City and Arsenal have scored more than us. Think about that. Last season we managed 40 goals after 38 games, but this season, after just 20 matches, we already have 34 goals. And on top of that, we moved from finishing 15th last season to now sitting 6th in the table. That clearly shows Amorim has done his job with the little he was given. He improved what he was given, which was the attacking players. And honestly, if the club had given him Watkins, a striker already proven in the Premier League, we would probably be talking about even more goals right now. But let's leave that aside for a moment, because this is exactly where the real problem began. The board, the same people who were supposed to support Amorim and finish building the squad for the system they hired him to play, have now completely changed direction. They now suddenly believe that to make this setup work, they would need to sign almost 5 new players, because they have now realized that many of the players we already have are not good enough and don't fit the system, and there is also no money. So they told Amorim that they cannot buy that many players, and that he must instead adapt and find something else that can work with the squad he has. Amorim accepted it. Remember, his plan at first was to perfect the original formation before making any changes. But because the board refused to sign the remaining players he needed, he was left stuck in the middle of nowhere. So he decided to adapt and also try other setup to bring the best out of the players, and he said it.
I think in the future we can change also the, like I was always talking, and you guys, especially you, about the system. We can play a different way to take more quality from these players, because I have the feeling that if we have to play a perfect 3-4-3, we need to spend a lot of money and we need time. So I'm starting to understand that that is not going to happen. So maybe I have to adapt.
Then the problems really started. Injuries came. AFCON came. The squad became extremely thin. And even with all of this happening, the board is still not ready to strengthen the team in the January window. We are now seeing games where we are forced to use 7 defensive players on the pitch simply because there are no other players available. There is no depth, there is no real help, and yet the board keeps demanding that Amorim change everything even with no support in this January window. Meanwhile, the fans are angry at him, the pundits are criticizing him, and ex-players are also attacking him. And somehow, after all of this, Amorim has ended up as the sacrificial lamb, paying the price for the negligence and failure of the board. Now, let's talk about Amorim's speech yesterday. It came from a place of immense pressure coming from all sides. The fans are shouting, the pundits are criticizing, the media is attacking, and at the same time, the board is telling him what to do, refusing to do what he has needed from the very beginning. From the start, he has been asking for players to make his system work properly, yet the board didn't continue with the plan. Instead, we ended up with Sesko, who Amorim didn't want, and no midfielder, leaving him stuck with Casemiro and Ugarte, players who can't fully execute his vision for controlling games. And now, on top of all that, the board is pressuring him to change his approach or risk being sacked. That, my friends, is exactly why he was angry yesterday. When he said he is a manager, not just a coach, he meant that he is responsible for the entire project, not just following instructions. And when he said he has 18 months, he was referring to the length of his contract, which runs until the end of next season in June next year. But the message behind that was clear: he is frustrated, fed up with the lack of support, and ready to walk away at the end of his contract if he is not given the backing and trust he needs to finish what he started at Manchester United. Now, let's ask ourselves, Manchester United fans, what exactly do we want? Do we want the level of Sir Alex Ferguson with the current players we have: Dalot, Casemiro, Ugarte, Dorgu, Sesko, and Shaw? Let's be honest, during Sir Alex's era, we had some of the best strikers in the world, a midfield that was phenomenal, and a defense that could terrify any opponent. We had players with the mentality of absolute beasts, men who played for the badge and for glory, who gave everything for Manchester United. But even with all that talent, Sir Alex didn't achieve the success overnight. It didn't take him just 2 years to get United competing at the highest level. He had to build slowly, carefully, step by step. Even Ferguson, with all his brilliance, struggled at times to get the club back to where it needed to be. And the key difference? He was given time, he was supported fully, with money, resources, and patience, and let's not forget, the pressure back then was nothing compared to what managers face today. We didn't have pundits scrutinizing every single move, we didn't have a media circus waiting to pounce on any small mistake. The expectations were intense but not relentless like they are now. We, as fans, always say, this is Manchester United, we should be winning games, we shouldn't be making excuses about injuries, and yes, that is true. But then, why don't we also hold ourselves and the club accountable in the same way? Why don't we say, this is Manchester United, we should be buying the players we need to compete at the top, we should be investing in the squad, we should be backing the manager properly, and stop hiding behind the excuse that there is no money. Because until the club actually gives the manager the tools, the support, and the players he needs to build something meaningful, we are asking for Ferguson-level results from a team that is nowhere near that level yet. The patience, the structure, the backing, all of that has to be there, and until it is unfair to demand perfection from a team that is still in the process of being rebuilt. I also keep seeing people saying, even when all the players are available, what has Amorim done? But let's step back and really think about that. If he hadn't done anything, if the system wasn't working, if the team wasn't improving, how on earth are we sitting 6th in the Premier League already? How have we scored 34 goals in just 20 matches? How are we currently 3rd in goals scored, 1st in chances created, and 1st in total shots? That's not luck, that is a system that is functioning, that is a team improving, that is a manager building something meaningful despite all the obstacles thrown in his way. Yes, we have conceded goals, and yes, maybe if we hadn't conceded as many and taken more of our chances, we could very well be at the top of the league right now. But here's the reality, we didn't buy the midfielders we desperately needed, we didn't strengthen the defense as required, that is why we concede many goals, but yet the team is already showing tangible progress. So why do so many people immediately point the finger at Amorim when goals go in? Why do we forget all the positive statistics, all the progress that is happening right before our eyes? We really need to take a step back, calm down, and understand what is actually going on at Manchester United. This isn't about excuses, it's about seeing the bigger picture, the reality of a club in transition, a manager doing his job with the pieces he has been given, and a squad that is starting to come together despite everything working against them. Now Amorim has shown that he is not a puppet of the Glazers or the Ineos. He has stood up for himself, not just for his own principles but for the benefit of the entire club, the players, and all of us as fans. We have to recognize it and stand up for him, support him fully, because the reality is that the real problem lies with the board. Think about it, if the board doesn't have the money to strengthen the squad properly, why did they partner with Ineos to bring in the resources needed? If Ineos can't provide the money, why didn't they consider selling the club to the bidders from Qatar who were ready to invest? This is where the problem comes from, and now the coach is left to suffer the consequences, and as fans, we are the ones feeling the frustration. Yet, what do we see happening? Instead of holding the board accountable, everyone is talking about formations, tactics, and systems, and blaming Amorim for issues that are beyond his control. Meanwhile, the very people who should be responsible for providing the support, the money, and the structure remain untouched, while Amorim, the one who is actually trying to build and improve the club, bears all the criticism. This has to change, and we as fans have a responsibility to back him up, because if we don't, nothing will ever improve at Manchester United.